Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Sorry I've been doing these videos looking a hot mess. As you know, if you watched yesterday's video, I was in the hospital because of fibroid pains and stuff. So, yeah, I actually ended up being released after I saw my obstetrician. Obstetrician, can't speak. So after I saw her and I wasn't in any more pain as far as like the fibroid is concerned, like what I explained to you yesterday. And yes, I'm wearing the same dress, I believe, but all my dresses are in the laundry. And I'm just too tired to like look for anything else. But anyways, as I was saying, they ended up releasing me because the fibroid that was degenerating that I was telling you about, it's done. Like there's no pain there anymore. Um, so I didn't really need all the heavy pain medication anymore. But what I didn't realize though at that time was that, well, they gave me like 2 Tylenols to come home. But what I didn't realize is at the time I had actually gotten irritable bowel, which the other doctor had mentioned the day before when he stuck a camera up my butt to see what's going on with, my bowels. And he said that he suspected that I have irritable bowel syndrome. To me, which didn't make sense at the time. Pardon me. It didn't make sense to me at the time because I didn't come there with irritable bowel syndrome. My bowels were fine. I had my regular, you know, poop pattern. It was fine. I didn't have any problems. I only got constipated after the fact because of the morphine they were giving me. And this is where the train wreck just started. So I got morphine, got constipated. So to deal with the constipation, they gave me a enema. So enema up my butt, and then the suppository, obviously, two of those things. I think maybe they reacted together. I don't know, but I reacted to them obviously, and then the next thing I know, I thought initially that I had diarrhea because of the enema, but it turns out I was literally just bleeding out of my, that area. I was bleeding out of, let's call it what it is. I was bleeding out of my anus. Pretty much that's what was happening. I was bleeding out of my anus, and I thought it was diarrhea at first, then I realized it was blood. And to make matters worse, when I did show the nurses, like, listen, this is blood. I don't think this is normal. Is this what's supposed to happen with an enema? And they called my obstetrician again and asked what to do. And basically, she told them to tell me not to worry about it, that it's quite normal or something, or common, I don't know, and that I shouldn't worry about it till the next day when the other doctor comes in. And that's the doctor now that deals with bowel issues. So he comes in, the first thing he says is, "Oh, you might have hemorrhoids. Did you ever have hemorrhoids?" I'm like, "No." "Well, you might have hemorrhoids." I'm like, "Okay. What do you mean I might have hemorrhoids?" Like, yeah, chances are you have hemorrhoids. And I'm like, "Okay, if you keep saying such a bold statement that I have hemorrhoids, how do you know? Can you check?" So he stuck his finger up there, felt it, whatever. By the way, this video is going to be pretty graphic, so if you're very sensitive to things like this, I suggest you don't watch it. This is just an information video that I'm giving to people based on my experience, because I didn't have a very positive experience in the hospital, and I just want people to know things to look out for when in a similar situation. So, anyways, he stuck his finger up there, and then he's like, well, the best way to tell, because he couldn't feel anything, he's like, the best way to tell is to do a colonoscopy. So, you're going to have to do a colonoscopy at some point, but chances are you have hemorrhoids. And this was scaring the hell out of me at the time, because I'm like, I don't need any more things. I don't need any more issues. Hemorrhoids are very painful. I'm pregnant. Okay, I'm 4 months pregnant. I have fibroids, which when they degenerate, they cause the most severe pain I have ever felt in my life. And then on top of it, you want to tell me I have hemorrhoids? Like, no, 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 no. Like, no. Just let me deal with one issue, okay? In this case, two, pregnancy and fibroids, but I don't need a third one. Anyways, long story short, he ended up getting like I guess he had like a pocket camera that he had on him, so he kind of put that up there and checked out my bowels and whatever to see what's going on. And he's like, wow, they're really, really, really irritated. Did you have any irritation or before? I'm like, no, didn't have any irritation before. I had seen a little bit of blood before, like while I was at home. This was like days ago though, but it was most likely because I had a heavy movement, and sometimes when I have not even sometimes, all the time when I have a heavy movement, it usually just cracks like the corner of my exit door there, so some blood comes out. But that's why I didn't give it any more attention, because I'm like, I know what it is, right? I kept checking on it. It was fine afterwards. So anyways, I was like, no, I didn't have any bowel issues or digestive issues before. I didn't have any of basically the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. He goes on to explain that, irritable bowel syndrome is quite common with pregnant women. So to make sure, because it's very irritated up there, he actually said first that it could be possibly more likely the suppository they gave me to put up there that I'm reacting to, because it's really, really red and like irritated up there. And he recommended actually that I stop taking the suppository right away, which is like, fine, I'll stop. I don't know what I'll do for the pain. I think I explained most of this yesterday, but anyways, let me try to fast forward this. Fast forward, the next that day after I didn't have the suppository anymore. Later on, my doctor came in. She checked me out, and I was fine. I didn't have any more pain going on as far as the fibroid was concerned. I just didn't know that the irritation to my bowels was going to get worse. So I asked her, I was like, is it possible if I'm fine, if I don't need anything else, if I don't need any more morphine or heavy medications, pain relief medications from you guys, can I go home? And she assessed me, checked everything out. She's like, yeah, you know what? You're good to go home. So I came home. I'm home. And this is where the problem starts. Not starts, but this is where the problem gets worse. Here I am at home, and 1 minute I'm feeling fine. I'm walking around and stuff. And then I start feeling pain, abdominal pains. I'm like, what's going on? Is it another fibroid that's degenerating, or is it the same fibroid? Am I overexerting myself? Because you're at home, it's different than when you're in the hospital. You kind of walk around, you sort out your food, you go watch TV, you get up, you go there, here, there, make your bed. Like you do more stuff, obviously, than when you're in a hospital. So I thought maybe I'm overexerting myself. So right away, I was like, okay, stop. Crawled into bed and just lay down. But the abdominal pains, though, they kept getting worse. So I was like, something's wrong here, right? So I'm checking the time. I'm like, okay, I last took the Tylenol they gave me around 2 o'clock in the 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Yeah, so I took it at 2 o'clock. I'm checking the time to see if the 4 to 6 hour timeline has passed yet. And then I'm realizing that, no, I'm having pain, even though the timeline hasn't even passed. Anyways, I waited out, and then, after, like, I take another dose of Tylenol, and that does absolutely nothing. I promise you, it did nothing. I was in pain, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. And my bowels at this point are overreacting. So they went from constipation, where they were like on inactive pretty much, to overreacting. They're pulsating. And every so often, they pulsate so much that I get like, pains in my abdomen. And I feel like I need to go. So I go to the bathroom, and what happens? I poop. And this happened within a span of like just, I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours. I must have pooped like 3 times. No kidding. At first, very small, like rabbit sized bits. And then they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually I was having full size ones. And that whole entire evening last night, most of the time I was on the toilet pooping. And I was kind of relieved though that if all that was inside of me, at least it was coming out. Maybe it got built up from the day that I got constipated, because usually I do go twice a day. I'm very regular like that. It hardly ever changes. I usually always go twice a day. So I'm like, okay, if that all that buildup was in there, good. It's getting out, whatever. And bedtime, we go to bed. 1 o'clock I wake up, I need to poop again. And the abdominal pain again is getting worse and more intense and more intense. I'm like, what is going on? So I go and grab some more Tylenol. I get the Tylenol. Nothing. Pain level still increasing. I think I managed to fall asleep around 5. I woke up around 5. I must have woken up in between there too, but I just was too tired to do anything, so I just kind of went back to sleep. I woke up around 5, and same thing, go poop, whatever. Take some Tylenol, and then I'm realizing this stuff's not doing anything. Like, I'm up an hour, half an hour, an hour later, I'm just up waiting for it to kick in because I can't fall asleep because of the pain. And it's not doing nothing. So this morning, I'm here and I'm like, no, something's got to give. I'm not going back to the hospital. Right now, I have some abdominal pain. Not as bad, but it's on and off because of the pulsating. Obviously, when it's pulsating like that, it does tend to hurt a lot. But I have to be, again, on 2 Tylenols and 2 ibuprofens just to maintain my pain. And that's just to maintain it so that I can just sit here and eat some food. Like, I'm surrounded by food right now because I don't have an appetite. First thing in the morning, I try to eat. Like, I took a bite of a banana, and as soon as it goes down, my bowels are just irritated. They're just going like that, pulsating. It was just very hard to eat until the painkillers kicked in, and then now I'm just eating slowly. I've been eating this food since this morning. I'm just taking like little bites at a time, because every time I eat like 2, 3 bites, my bowels are just like on fire. They're just like, nope, we're just ready to go. Can't deal with this, sorry. So, anyways, the reason I'm telling you guys this is just be very careful what kind of medications people are giving you. If your doctors are recommending stronger painkillers than morphine, like chances are morphine alone has its side effects, its adverse side effects, which are pretty bad on their own. And while you're pregnant, you shouldn't even be taking morphine, even though they say it's safe and whatever. But there is no, it's morphine. It's supposed to be a very short-term temporary pain relief to get you to the next point, or transit time. Maybe you're somewhere, you're injured, so to get you from that point to the hospital, for instance. That's what morphine is for. It's not supposed to be a daily thing, getting shots of morphine every hour, every day around the clock. That's not what it was designed for. And then this suppository, I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest. I need to look up what that is. But anyways, back to my point yesterday. This is exactly why I want to find a more natural pain relief method. I did mention yesterday that I want to look into cannabis, right? Cannabis oil as a pain relief method. The only problem is I'm pregnant, obviously, and I don't want to get high. That is not my objective. I don't want anything that's going to alter my consciousness. I don't want anything that's going to stop me from being able to drive and do daily things. Like, I'm pregnant, I have appointments to go to. I have prenatal appointments. At that appointment, I have to start taking those pregnancy exercises or whatever you call them. But yeah, like, I don't have that luxury. So basically, what I'm gonna do, this is what I did today. I called the cannabis clinic in Edmonton and I asked them, like, what are my options? Because every time I go to the hospital, it seems these people are trying to kill me. Not literally, obviously they're trying to help, but it's just that their knowledge is very limited and their medicine is very limited. And I need something that can help me and not give me side effects. And even though cannabis oil is known for that, I know that it's going to be very hard to get that while I'm pregnant. And personally, I prefer to not have it with the psychoactive ingredients THC. So I'm looking at what's it called? CBD. CBD. That's the cannabis without THC, pretty much. So, or at least trace amounts. It only has trace amounts of THC, so it's not going to get you high, right? So once I get this, from what they were telling me, all I need to do is print out the referral form, give it to my doctor, ask her to sign it, and bring it over so that we can set up an appointment for an assessment, at which point they're going to assess me, find out what the problem is compared to my medical records, and see what needs to be done and, like, how much of it I need. So chances are they were telling me that because the THC one, I probably won't be able to get a referral for that at all, because there's not going to be any physician that's going to be comfortable giving cannabis with THC to a pregnant woman or even a woman who's breastfeeding. I'm like, I'm fine with that. I personally don't want the high anyways. And they're like, okay, if you're fine with that, see if you can get a referral form for the CBD. So I'm like, okay, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to print out that form and take it in. In the case that my doctor refuses to sign the referral form, they do have a self-referral form which you can sign. I really need something for pain. they do have like, yeah, a self-referral form you sign, you take in, and based on the information you give them, you're giving them consent that you're going pretty much against your doctors, and saying that this is, as an adult, obviously you have to be 25 and over to actually sign this form. As an adult, 25 and over, you're making the decision that you're going to go ahead with this form of treatment, right? And so far, that's my plan at this point. So again, I don't know if anybody else has any ideas on pain relief that is like more natural. The reason I'm going this course with the forms and stuff and with the cannabis clinic is because once I get assessed and I get examined and I get my prescription, it's actually for where I get the cannabis oil is from places that are licensed. Right. They're licensed and regulated and all that stuff. So there's no chances of it being laced with something else or, a whole bunch of other foolishness. But yeah, basically, I mean, because there's places out there, I could go on a website right now if I wanted to and just type in my credit card number, and in like a few days at my doorstep there'll be cannabis oil, either one, the THC one or the CBD one. It'll be at my doorstep right away. But even though they claim to be reliable and blah blah and clean, I don't want to take that chance, especially while I'm pregnant. Right? So that's why I'm trying to do it this route. So I'm really hoping that my doctor will cooperate. And even if she doesn't, I'm going this way anyways. So I'll let you know once I'm able to go there. I guess I'll take you guys along with me anyways. Once I'm going there. Just to get an idea of how all these things work if you are in a similar situation. There are other options out there. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to be a guinea pig to doctors and stuff and let them poke around and shove things in you that are going to leave you with more problems than you came in with. So yeah, that was my long rant. At least it wasn't as long as yesterday's. Hopefully they'll get shorter and shorter, but I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Ciao.